thanks to all our active patrons who have contributed a lifetime of $100 or more to reach Garuk Dong level status.
Here is the list of those special patrons in order of contributions.
If you would like to support our show, check out the Commander Smiths at patreon.com. Ooh, welcome to the Commander Smiths.
We are the Commander Smiths.
I'm Adam Smith. Almost fucked it up.
And I'm Larry Smith.
Don't worry.
We're cousins. What happened?
It was just in my brain. I'm like, this is the first episode in a long time that neither of us are drinking anything. This is the sober cast right here.
The sober cast.
We had enough drinking.
$2.99. We're saving up for next week.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
It's $300. We'll just get thrashed. Just kidding, not me.
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
Maybe.
Well, we got a little tipsy this past weekend. That was fun. It was I'll say the last night. So the weird thing about that was the first day we got there on Friday. So just so you guys know, we had if you guys are listening and not on the Discord, we had guys weekend testing out the new cabin. And we got a bunch of us playing Magic and everything, and we got up there Friday. And Friday felt like the longest day ever. Like, I remember being like, God, it's got to be at least midnight. And it was only 7 o'clock. And it was like, oh, this is sweet. We just played Magic. Whereas Saturday felt like the opposite, where it was just like we were playing longer. But all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, it's dark out. Oh, it's got to be 7 o'clock. And I'm like, it's 2 o'clock in the morning? What the hell is going on?
Went very fast. I agree.
Yeah, so, we got a lot of good Commander games. And I guess what before we dive deep into that, what are we doing for today's episode? But so people can stick around if they're listening, whatever, watching. As you can hear, a little bit of a cold. So
main segment's going to be our top 10 from the new Ixalan set, including the Commander Precons. Any new cards that are in there. We are definitely including Legends in this one that we did not talk about in our Fave 5s. Those are included for sure.
Yeah.
And then after that, we're going to do Stump.
The Smith Savant, which it's week 4, so we add a card to the ante. And I'm not going to say what it is, but it's the number 1 card.
It's in the number 1 slot that
so
we really
somebody's
are excited about.
Getting great henge, which is awesome.
I don't know if it's going to be that good.
But yeah, so we'll announce that. And actually, I drew somebody last week, and I guess I hadn't taken their name out because sometimes I'll do the automatic or whatever, and so it's actually Deadpool Dragon is the stumper for this week. So
bring it on.
If you get stumped, not only does he win our number 1 card, but he also wins the proxy there. My cleaning fee. I don't even know how to take that. Like, did you actually? I don't even remember if you paid or not. I mean,
he didn't. He tried to, but you were pooping. And then, he was like, "Let's just go. Let's figure this out later."
Oh, nice. Thanks, buddy. Yeah. So okay, the weekend. Let's get to the weekend. So we tend to do this once a year, but now this was kind of an early test to the new cabin because we normally go up to our grandparents' cabin. So we got about 8 of us up there, and not only do we just play Commander, we played a bunch of different games, but we play a bunch of different board games too. So it gets fun. We play all day, all night, whatever. Let's
super late. You're late, Renshaw.
Well, I can play this.
A wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means.
He just must mean that we stayed up until 5 a.m. on Saturday, which, oh my God.
Well, I didn't. I went to bed at 4.
What?
Yeah.
So much earlier. Yeah.
I was so tired.
That hour of people going
done.
to bed at 4, us 5 o'clockers. I don't remember it very well. I guess I was humping number 2, and yeah, it's just, that's what happens when you get.
That's why he was quiet on the ride home.
That's what happens when you get Malord in you, I guess. So, okay. So, Commander games. Yeah, we are 24 hours. Right. Yeah, we had some emergency family stuff, not emergency, but family stuff that we had to deal with yesterday. So that was why we were late today. So, good Commander games. I mean, how did you feel the weekend went with Commander games and everything? we should talk about Emperor a little bit. You threw, I didn't throw up at 4. That was this guy right down here.
What? No. Because I think so me and Mr. Hockey were sharing a bungalow. Very sexy. But I threw up after he had gotten back, so I don't know what time if it's 5 o'clock, then it's probably in between 5 and 6 o'clock that I threw up. It wasn't from the booze, it was because I ate so much fucking pizza and chips. I just was so uncomfortable, and my body's like, you have too much salt in your body, get it out of you. Because it wasn't Spency's, it wasn't any of that. It was just so uncomfortably full.
And then you did the typical thing that you do when you puke, and you spill the garbage can when you're trying to get rid of the puke all over the place, except it was outside, which is good.
It wasn't exactly a recreation, but yeah. I was like, okay, maybe I'm going to try and take a shit. And then I was like, nope, I'm definitely also going to puke. So I shit and puke into the garbage can same time. Right. And then I was like, I don't want to leave it in here because I don't trust just a plastic bag.
Just sitting in
so
there.
I didn't have my glasses on, walking in the dark, and I just kind of set the paper bag or the plastic bag outside and just rolled down the hill and just spilled into the lawn a little bit.
Oh, that's so gross.
It was. I also learned that I need to start chewing my food better, because there was definitely like chunks of crust getting stuck in my throat and in between like my gums and teeth. Yeah, it was not enjoyable.
So Commander games.
This is all because of hockey. This is his fault.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so my one takeaway from the weekend is I think I'm done from Cyclonic Rift and Craterhoof. Like done because all my new decks don't have that. And then when I played a deck that's older that had both of them in it, it just I don't like it. Like it almost feels too easy of a win in a way. Like
it's anticlimactic,
right?
Climatic, whatever that word is. Climatic,
and
chlamydia.
Roads.
Roads.
So like, there's one game that I got it in my hand, and I was like, I just want to exile this and draw a different card. I think you mentioned something like that in a game where you're just like, I just want to exile this so I can get a different card, because I could have done it. But what would it have done? Like, I didn't have the win. Like, I just would have been resetting the game. And so I was like, no, I'm holding this. And then it ended up being, we lost that turn. So I was like, okay, I'm glad I didn't, but I had this fucking thing and I really don't want this in my deck anymore. So I think I'm going to be phasing out, going any of the older decks. If I don't kill them, try to replace Cyclonic. Yeah, Cyclonic from there. I'm fine with some of the other staples we talk about. You see the Teferi's Protection. It's fun. I love when Teferi's Protection hits, because it's always like, oh, I'm going to kill this person and I'm going to win the game. And then it's like, boom, Teferi's Protection. Stop it, Ibukaki. Jeez, it's just bitter. He's mad about
long turns.
The one game that Mark was playing your deck, and he had blood.
Rowan.
What is it?
You were playing Braids, apparently.
Yeah, but what was it? The blood chief, not Blood Chief Ascension. The one where
Exquisite Blood.
Thank you. I knew there's blood in the name. So he was playing your deck, and he had Exquisite Blood, and we're just like murdering each other. And then about a turn or two later, I played Exquisite Blood. So then Ibukaki had to choose, who am I going to kill? And I was like, maybe what you do is you just even it out. You hit that person, and the other person's life goes up, and then you hit the other, and their life goes up. So it ended up being like, your
seems
deck,
like a waste.
He like was over 200 life. That was probably my most memorable game. Like, it was funny. Something funny happened, but
yeah, that's not a good position to be in at that point.
But yeah, so I ended up getting murdered because he played that enchantment that I lose life equal to the amount of life I already lost that turn. So he was hitting me. I was up to like almost 100, and then he'd hit me, and then it dropped dramatically. But yeah, so notable games that you can remember besides talking about like Emperor and stuff like that. Did you get to play any plane chase stuff? You played some plane chase. How did you feel about that?
The plane chase did not activate very often. I think we had, like a full 3-person game, and it might have we might have had 3 planes that we were on, and it hit a chaos once. Like, it didn't do much for me because it just wasn't doing anything really. So,
no, I had fun. I'll say that I think adding that to a 3-person game made 3-person games more enjoyable for me. Like, maybe that's like my thing. I don't like 3-person games as much. I'd much rather play a 6 than a 3, but adding that little dynamic in there made it a lot more fun. So I liked it. We played it the first night when you guys went to bed, and then when we did the 3-person games the second night. So I enjoyed that. But the Emperor was pretty interesting. Like, I think we want to adjust those rules. Like, that was kind of, we went
probably a little bit, probably just the life.
Yeah, I think yeah. But we play because it's 20, 20, and 30, and both game. I mean, the second game was better than the first game. The first game we just got dominated, and we decided to go
right. A fast deck at
Lord
20 life is just so much better than feeling like it's a 3 or a 6-person game. Like it really is just 1v1.
Yeah,
at the beginning there, it felt like it at least.
Yeah, and then the second game we decided to not go theme with Lord of the Rings, and we're like, let's get better decks and let's stomp these fuckers.
I don't know. We didn't stomp them, but you were playing Magda, which is
and
you were protected.
Yeah,
in the second game.
Yeah, and then and then when you were getting down to 2 life, I was like, hey, how about a Platinum Angel for you, buddy? And they're like, shit.
That wasn't a bad deal.
Yeah,
wasn't a bad deal at all.
But yeah, that was a good weekend. Is there? Well, come on, you got to have a deck that stood out. What was your favorite game? Do you have a favorite deck that did well? Or
I mean,
didn't
I don't
do
know if there was a favorite game, but there was definitely like a fun moment with me and number 2. He had gotten down to 2 life, and he was playing Locust God, maybe? That doesn't seem right, but Locust God was dominating. It was out and doing very well for him. And then Mark was playing your Fortel Dragon's Approach deck.
Edgin, yep.
Yeah. And I was playing Zimone and Dina and one other person, but it was the end of the game. That person was out. And so number 2 is down to 2 life, and I'm going to end my turn. I could just kill him. And I was like, I'll wait and see what he does. And he kind of convinced me to do that. And I had basically, if I drew 2 cards, and I had 2 ways of doing it. If I drew 2 cards, I can just dap him for 2 and he's done. And so he goes and he decides to like basically all out attack and kill both of us or try. And I was like, well, I'm going to do my top, draw 2 because I had something else doing that. And then he goes, hey, what the fuck is it? Plagiarize. And it's basically whenever target player goes to draw a card, you draw a card. And so my top is stacked, and then plagiarize is on there, and then I tap Zimone and Dina to sacrifice a creature to draw 2 cards, and then he copies plagiarize so that I still can't draw the 2 cards. He survives. I definitely die. Mark lives.
Did he win
and
with
then
Dragon's Approach?
And then I guess I'm, after number 2 brought it up the next day or whatever, I kind of half remembered it again, but I was drunk on pizza at that point. And Mark top decks a land, and he's like, and I was like, no, guy reached Sanitarium. He draws into a Dragon's Approach, discards his land, kills number 2. I don't know if he was bitter or not, but he was able to hold on to his emotions fairly well if he was. So that was a fun little end of a game right there.
I have to put into what Ibukaki is saying there, just so it doesn't sound really bad. Okay, so there's a fantastic board game that we have played probably like 4 consecutive years of doing this Guys Weekend, but it's Secret Hitler. It's a fantastic game. There's a similar game, Werewords, I feel is similar to that game, but they're 2 different games. But Secret Hitler is just a great game. If you can watch a video on it, it's basically it's everybody puts their heads down. I think we've talked about it before on this podcast.
We have,
but
last
spring,
February when we got back, we talked about it.
Yeah, so it's just a great game. If you get a chance, look it up. If you get, don't do it with like 4 people. I think it's a good game when you have 6 or more people. We also played, which was you and I the first night. All we wanted to do was play Commander. And then there, you could tell the group's like, let's switch it up a bit. And number two's like, let's play Muffin Time. And you and I are like, I just want to play Commander. And we're like, fine, like begrudgingly, just like, all right, let's play this. Ended up being a really fun game.
Muffin Time was a really fun game for sure.
It's a good, easy game to pick up. And then Werewords is a fun game. That's the second year we've played that. So those are the three like main games that we played that weren't Magic. I know number two and Mark got into some other board games. So it's cool because we just get a bunch of people. People can do different things. If you just want to keep playing Commander, we play Commander. If people want to switch it up, we have enough tables and stuff like that to do that. So, overall, it was a good test to it all.
Successful weekend.
We had enough sleeping spots so people didn't have to like sleep on the couch or on the floor. Everybody had a bed at least, and so that worked out good. So that was the test of it. So I don't think
there's it was a lot closer than where we normally go to.
Yes, it was a much easier drive.
And I think that might be why it feels like that Friday was long, because there was a lot that we got in.
Well, I mean, we drove up and then got food and but we started later than we did on Saturday, I thought.
That's true.
But then it felt like, I remember at one point we're like, what time is it? We're like, holy crap, it's only 7:00. And but the other one Saturday just, you were at the special weekend, you douche canoe.
You care, Mr. Hockey.
How'd your squirrels do there, Ibukaki? Just wondering, how's their hashtag Team Forest Walk? There was a lot of that going around this weekend.
There was a lot of Yavimaya Cradle of Growth.
And Urza Sagas. There were some of those.
There was a handful of them.
There was plenty.
I think they were louder than the Yavimaya, but I was like, Yavimaya was like, another one. It was just became casually, yep, that's happening.
I did
and
some.
Urza's like, oh, there's a spotting. It was like a moose. It's like, they're very majestic and seldom seen in the wild.
They're amazing, is what you're saying. I never even played a Yavimaya. I played a Urborg though, so there's that.
Same difference.
Thanks for the invite. You're too far away. That drive would be way too far, Renshai. Okay. All right. I think that's enough of this. Let's get to our top 10 stuff. Let's get to everything. Let's get to our tags. We actually do need to, we have a new patron, so we got to get that in. Okay. You could you're like, oh shit, did I send the invite? I think you did. Yes. Cause I got text and then I sent you the message and all that. You can become a patron like our new patron this week. Travis Evink. I don't know. I think that's how you say it. I apologize if I'll
do this. She can't even read. Welcome to a meat forest.
That sounds like a fairy tale of a meat forest.
Thank you for becoming a patron, Travis. Appreciate it. You guys can donate $1 or more. That gets you right into the Discord. $5 or more gets you proxies each month if you so choose. You can if you move up higher on the tiers, you can get these foil proxies like this little bad guy right here. Grand Crescendo and the Star Wars art. That helps us, that supports the show, helps us continue doing what we're doing, continue expanding and doing that. We have some other things that are happening. We've kind of made mention, but our store is going to be starting soon. It's very, very close. We're just waiting on a couple things to come in. We'll be doing an announcement on that. So that'll be another way to support the show, is getting gear. And that also will help us continue to expand that as well. But another way you can financially support the show is to jump on these live casts. Like I mentioned earlier, I think I mentioned it, maybe it was just the Discord, but the shots that were bought last week, the Malorts, are going to be moved to next week. Josh bought them last week because we're half price shots at this point, and that'll be for our 300th episode. But that's another way you can financially support the show, is to buy shots or whatever on the podcast. And then jelly beans are also the gross jelly beans, and hot beans are anytime it's not a podcast. Those are in play. So you can donate by making us do dumb stuff. And we might have a twist on that at some point. We've had some discussions on that. But the other financial way to support the show is to subscribe to YouTube and watch our videos there. If you watch stuff there, gives us fractions of pennies every time you watch it. And, all those fractions of pennies sometimes add up to a penny. So that is technically financially supporting us, while also being a free way to support the show, because then you don't have to pay any money. It's just, you just watch us there. We have tons of stuff that go on at YouTube. Last week we did what did we do? The Commander Smith, the Precon upgrades.
We did
do that. Yeah, so we went through all 4 of the new Precons, and that was pretty fun. Check those out.
Added in $20 worth of cards, probably average of $2 per card. Roughly 10 cards switched in and out. We'd tell you why, when, how, where.
We did all that. I didn't realize we did all that. But then we also had the Mr. Unlimited section of that too. So if you have no budget or you can spend any amount of money, we throw that in there as well. So make sure you guys check those videos out. We also have Curated MTG, which happens twice a week. You posted one today, didn't you? Curated MTG was today.
I did.
Yeah. So what was that? I posted it.
Give me a second.
And it immediately left the brain. It's like when they do that math test. And
I recorded it last night. That's a whole 24 hours ago.
But have you seen those studies or whatever where they, people go and take a math test? Okay, you got it.
Yeah. 4 knocks. White enchantment with vanishing 4 during your upkeep. You get to draw a card, but you got to take off one of them vanishing counters. Talk about proliferation keeps them around for a while, or maybe some type of enchantment reanimation like Onyxia, and then there was another commander in there for some reason. And so, but it's kind of a cool card, kind of a white Phyrexian arena, but it shorter lived, obviously. But if you're doing something with it, it can work for you, and I think it's pretty cool. Apparently, it's pretty thematic. I remember number 2 saying, "Oh my God, this card," and then. It's a great scene, but I haven't seen any shorts on it. So
that was the best part about playing when you play Doctor Who stuff with number 2. He's like, "Oh, this one and this one and this one." I was like, "Cool, I have no idea."
No references.
But biggest thing with the Curated is not only is it on YouTube, but we also have it on TikTok. Biggest thing there with any of the shorts, anything under a minute, is make sure you watch it through and give it a like. You got to get those. We have serial thumbs downers. There's 1 to 3 of them that just love to do it. So even this video right now that you're watching, give that a thumbs up. That helps us out quite a bit. Other video last week, I got my collector boosters. Oh, good for me.
Oh, good for you.
For the Lord of the Rings, the holiday set. So I opened that up. Spoiler
I heard
alert.
You got to watch the entire thing.
Yeah, the second to last
and
pack.
get some hotness at the end.
The second to last pack, I'll tell you, there's something pretty sweet there. I think I will be doing my secret layer from the Las Vegas drop with has the Mox box and all that stuff. Has the mystery booster and then the chaos draft packs. I think I'm gonna open the chaos draft packs because I don't want to try to sell those. It just seems like it's gonna be difficult. I'm gonna sell the mystery boosters, but I think tomorrow, Wednesday, I will be doing just cracking all those random packs. So there's Modern Horizons.
Okay.
I don't even think there's Lord of the Rings in there. No, there isn't Lord of the Rings, I don't think. But there's just a bunch of random packs in there. So I'll probably be doing that cracking video. I think that's it. We don't have anything else this week, right? You're not doing anything, right? No commander,
no, not
no
this
decks.
week.
Okay, cool.
Next week is going to be Xavier Saul.
So we'll start cracking into the spotlight decks as of next week after the set comes out. So
yeah.
All right, so that is the free way to support the show. You can also jump on Twitter or X, whatever you want to do there, and you can do stuff, and there's things, and we post things there occasionally. You can message us there, but honestly, if you message us on YouTube, it's a better chance that we respond there than over X and all that stuff.
Also true.
And then you can also direct message us by shooting us an email at commandersmiths@gmail.com. And that will bring us into, let me move the page. Well, Top 10 Commander cards. So we're gonna go through. What are we gonna do with this top 10 here, Larry? How does top 10 work? It's top 10 cards.
I mean, we have the 10 cards that we like the most and think are going to be used probably the most, and then we put them from 10 to 1 in
Good
that
job.
order. And then normally you make me go first so you can talk about number 1.
Oh no, it's because
you like talking about good cards.
No, because what happens is Great Henge gets revealed before the top 10 even goes. No,
that happened one time.
But no,
one time.
I can start with this time. Our number 10 actually is one that comes from the Commander deck, right? I believe it is. Yes, it is the commander deck.
Yep.
So it's Progenitor's Icon. So this is a 3-drop mono rock. So this would probably make the tournament. It definitely would make the tournament if we were doing it today. But as it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. You can tap it for 1 mana of any color, or you can tap it. The next spell of the chosen type you cast this turn can be cast at flash, or as though it had flash.
Yeah.
So great for tribal. We're dealing with dinosaurs. We're dealing with merfolk. It fits perfect in what we're doing here. And I don't say most decks are, stick to a theme of creature types, but a lot of times there's a majority of decks that do. So people like to keep them all within the same thing.
Right.
And so I think this is just going to be used a crap ton. It's not.
Flash is very good.
Yes.
So yeah, there's tons of tribals decks out there, and so I can see this being used a ton for that aspect of
and
it.
any flash creature for blocking it's kind of almost like a kill spell in a way. So and even if you don't have it, you can kind of threaten that you might have it by keeping this open. This and Samana open, they were like, oh shit, I don't want to attack them. They look open, but they might not be. So okay, that is number 10. There isn't really much more to talk about. We've had a few flash stuff, but this is the first time. This is something that can go in every deck, which is really nice. So all right, what is our number 9?
Number 9 is going to be O'Hare Caslim, Deepest Growth. That sounds disgusting, but it's 3 and 2 green, 6/5 trample, and then whenever it deals combat damage, you can reveal that many cards from the top, and you can put a land and or creature into play this way. And then if it dies, it will be flipped, which is the same for all the O'Hares that we'll talk about. I don't know why I'm given it's definitely like an H. O'Hare.
I thought you were just spoiling and that we were we have more of these on the list.
We might. We do. But it'll die, turn into a land of some sort, and then you can pay 3, tap it, transform it back into that creature. So instead of indestructible, you have to do a little bit of work to get it back, or it's a land, which is kind of a really nice bit. I really like that.
I like this
angle.
much better than going 3 from the top. It's just, it seems easier to get back, and you can have some use to it, as well. So I really dig this. So yeah, this is. Yep. I like also that this one's that you can potentially get 2 things out. The creature and a land if you hit one of them.
Okay.
So. And yeah, so all right, so
land.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that is our number 9. Number 8 is
what is it?
Spelunking.
That's a cool card.
Spelunking is 1 green and 2 colors enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Then you may put a land card from your hand on the battlefield. If you put a cave on the battlefield this way, gain 4 life. That one's probably going to be, besides you playing limited or whatever in this set, that's probably not going to happen very often. But the fact that you replace the card and you can play a land is pretty sweet. But then it has lands you control enter the battlefield untapped, which is very nice.
Yeah, and I think it works really nice for budget players for sure. It's a nice cheap draw, put a land into play. It's an enchantment, so some of those themes can work for it. But just sometimes, like even Zimone and Dina has, it puts the land into play tapped, and this just allows it to be untapped, and it's really nice in that regard, and it really moves that deck forward. But this is kind of a cool card.
Yep, I dig this one a lot. So that is number 8. All right, what do we got for number 7? I think we start getting into some unique. I mean, not that these weren't unique, but these are kind of fun as we get into this.
Fun ones. All right, number 7 is going to be Ripples of Potential. It's 1 blue instant, proliferate, then choose any number of permanents you control that had a counter put on them this way, and then those permanents phase out. Really cool for your +1/+1 counter decks, probably the Explorer deck. It's in the Merfolk deck, obviously. You had mentioned Planeswalkers.
Planeswalkers would be really fun with this one.
Yeah.
It's definitely got to go in my Planeswalker deck. So. And it works with my Mirror deck, actually. It's Mirror and Planeswalker, so it's fantastic in that deck. So, yeah, I think this is lower on the list in that if you aren't playing one of those types, it's a little tougher because you need to get counters
on there somehow.
Yeah. So, but I think it has enough effect that that's why it's making our top 10. And the other thing is let's just say it's in a deck that you're playing that kind of stuff, but somebody else has 1/1 counters. You can make their stuff phase out too. So if they had a bunch of crap there, you could put 1/1 counters on their things and phase them out if you wanted to like swing through.
Like if they're attacking, then they phase it out.
Yeah,
it's not a bad deal.
Yeah, so for 2 for that, it's I think it's pretty sweet. So all right, number 6. I feel like this is the fastest we've been going through.
We're doing well. We're very sober.
Yeah. This is Roaming Throne. So this is a 4-drop Golem artifact. It has Ward 2. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. So again, we get to include it with all our tribe stuff, our merfolk, our vampires. It is also the chosen type in addition to its other types. If a triggered if a triggered ability or another creature you control of the chosen type triggers, it triggers an additional time. So this is just, I mean, this can go in any of those decks. It kind of goes hand in hand with the mono rock, but being able to do the additional trigger, and this is also that type. Like, it's a golem, but it's also whatever deck you're playing, whatever tribe you have going on. So
So like Merfolk Explore deck, those are triggers, and so like upkeep triggers would double for that tribe, ETBs would trigger, attack triggers, like all of them that when you're saying trigger, that all triggers for those creatures. I think this is going to be applicable to a lot of decks.
Yeah,
it's really so. Gishath in a dinosaur deck, that's a trigger when it deals damage. That it's going to be really, really powerful.
Yeah, there's a lot of spots this is going to fit in. This is going to get used.
Right, Renshai is obviously rioting. Go do it like in your room or something, I guess. Maybe in your car.
What's happening?
He wants, if it's not the Great Henge at number 1, he's going to riot. So I'm telling you,
it's not in this set.
It's not.
It's
the
not
Great
new.
Henge.
It's not. It's not.
It's not going to happen.
All right. Number 5. We got another little guy here. I'm glad that you get to read all the fun ones.
All right. Let's. Oh yeah, talking about
What's his name?
What's
his name? What's her name?
I don't know.
Name?
Obviously. O'Hare. Pacquiao. I already did it.
Patik.
2 colorless, 2 blue, 4/3 flying. God. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand, it gains rebound, which means exile it, and you get to cast it for free the next turn during your upkeep. It's a crazy cool card. And then it has that when it dies, turns into land, and you can work to get it into a creature again. Rebound is sick, and having it like just straight up on a blue creature is going to be really powerful.
Wait, it flips over, transform, activates its ability with no time counters on it, and only as a sorcery. Does it dies, return it to the battlefield, transform it as owner. 3 time counters. So you're removing potentially in 3 turns, unless you can remove time counters faster, then you can flip it back over. So
all right.
A little more difficult to flip it back over.
Makes sense to me.
But I still love it that it's a land on the other side. So no, the rebound is fun because it's, you don't got to pay any mana when the next turn you're casting it.
Free spells. I mean, this can work in those decks where they've been playing with more like when you cast from not your hand, rebound works there.
Oh yeah.
So
this is gonna be used a lot, especially spell slingers. You're gonna love it. Number 4. Ooh, we have a dinosaur. Is this our first dinosaur? Or the other one's not dinosaurs?
We have maybe. I don't know. I'm not giving anything away.
Ghalta Stampede Tyrant, 5 and 3 green for a 12/12 trampler, elder dinosaur. When it enters the battlefield, put any number of creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield. That's just crazy. Like, it's not a cast trigger. You can cheat this in, and when it enters the battlefield, you just drop your hand. So if you Elvish Piper, you tap 1, or if you are doing any of the the cards that tap 1 red and get it. Why am I blanking on it? I don't have booze in my system.
Sneak attack?
There we go. Sneak attack. Sneak attack cards. You sneak it out into play. You get everything else out of your hand into the battlefield. And it's not just green creatures. It's just all your creatures from your hand you can just drop out.
Right.
This is just...
I do feel like that is like amiss a little bit. Like it should be an ETB if you cast it type thing. Because 8 mana for a 12/12 trample that puts all the creatures in your hand into play is kind of sick. Like,
Yeah.
that's a
Just
lot.
a little.
Just a little.
But I mean,
I don't know.
it isn't doing the other Galta stuff where it's cheaper for, you know, creatures and all that stuff. So
It's
maybe
true.
they just made it a little more overpowered because of that. So sneak and show. Yeah, show and tell would work too.
Old legacy.
Yeah.
Is that even a thing anymore?
I have no idea. All right. Okay, so now number 3. Oh, I love this card so much. Number 3, Lowry.
Very, very cool card. This one right there.
Yep.
Bone Horde Dracosaur. 3 colorless, 2 red, 5/5 flying for strike. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top 2 cards from your library. Way better than Urbrask. You may. It's not really. I don't know. You may play them this turn. If you exile the land. What?
I mean, this is better than Urbrask.
This is better than Urbrask, right?
So
Yeah,
good.
okay. If you exile the land card, create a 3/1 red dino token. If you exiled a non-land card this way, create a treasure token. And so if you're able to hit both those triggers, you get both those tokens. Like the 5/5 flying for a strike.
Well, you're always gonna
insane.
get either a creature or
At
a
least
treasure.
one of those tokens, but you
If
could
not
hit 2 of them.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
but you know what I'm saying is like everything is a non-land. You know, everything that's not a land is a. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna get 2 things there. It just depends on which 2 you're gonna get. You're either gonna get a 3/1 and a 3/1, or you're gonna get a 3 or a treasure and a 3/1. Yeah, it's saying if you exile a land this way, create a 3/1. If you exile a non-land, so you're getting.
But I'm saying I would say if you exiled 2 lands, you're only getting 1 3/1, right?
I was thinking every time you'd exile, if you exiled a non-land card this way. I don't know. I guess we'd have to look at that. Does it say in the rules on the bottom? No, it's too new a card. I guess how I always thought is if you hit 2 lands, you'd get 2 treasures. But either way,
I guess it could be. It could be that way too. I don't know.
And-
People will figure it out pretty quick.
yeah. The other thing is I do want to note is it is a dinosaur dragon, so it kind of fits into 2 pretty popular. I mean, it fits into dragons, which are popular, but it is also a dinosaur. So
Right.
you're getting 2 of those. They're going to be used in a lot of decks. So. But then you also get those 2 cards. So whatever it is, you can play those 2 cards. It's like, I don't know, it's just giving you a double bonus on this. So this card's just silly.
That's a pretty cool card.
Yeah, just silly. All right, number 2. Is that me? Am I on number 2? I am on number 2.
Yeah, that is.
The next one is it's a Q.
I think somebody's gonna be disappointed that the red god didn't make it on this list.
Ruh-roh. O'Hare Tack Deepest Fountain, 4 and 2 white for a white, or obviously a white god. I don't know why I had the color in there. It's a 6/6 with vigilance.
Seems
If
weird.
1 or more creature tokens would be created under your control, create 3 times that many instead. 3 times. So we're continuing with our 3 times doublers or triplers. I mean. Because we got red as 1, we have green, we have now white. Do we have? I don't think we have a blue, and we don't have a black yet, do we? I don't think we have a tripler in those.
So you're talking about like the land tripler,
yeah, anything
the
that's
damage tripler,
yeah, triple,
like Burning
yeah,
City.
yeah. I can't think of another tripler, but and then when it dies, return to the battlefield, tap, transform under your control, and again, it's doing that land thing. So how do we flip it back? Transform. Temple of Civilization, activate only if you attacked with 3 or more creatures this turn and only as a sorcery. Much easier to flip this bad boy back over. Probably one of the easier ones, I think, out of the ones we've showed so far. But this is going to be ridiculous. It's at $30 at this point. I mean, I hope it gets down to 20, but this sucker's going to go way up there. This is
Basically the Great Henge.
Yeah. Basically. But speaking of, let me get to our drum
You
roll.
say to exile a, yeah.
So is that
The dragon.
the dragon?
Draco dragon.
So is it saying that you could get 2, or is it just saying 1?
when a land, you did a land. I don't know if it's 2 separate triggers though.
All right.
I think that might be the case.
But you would think it'd like
I don't know.
word it say if it exiled one or more this, then you'd only get.
It's going to be a really popular card, so they're going to
we'll figure it out.
pretty
Yeah,
quick.
we'll know.
I mean, this is the first time I've read the card.
Yeah.
and So,
All right. Let me get the typed in, and then I'll hit the drum roll. And drum roll, you can't hear, can you?
no,
I don't
it's
think you
fine.
can.
Just
All right.
point at me, and I'm not actually going to look at the video either.
All right, I'm hitting the drum roll. Lowry, go ahead. Oh, I spelled it wrong.
Yeah, I did too. I don't know why it's hard, but Charismatic Conqueror, 1 and a white, 2/2 Vigilance, Vampire Soldier. Whenever an artifact or creature ETBs untapped and under an opponent's control, they may tap that permanent. If they don't, you create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink.
This is just gonna be silly. And this is, by the way, the Stump the Smith Savant prize if Lowry gets stumped here. So, but anyways,
that's true. This is the prize. If whoever stumps me, it's gonna be on that list.
but we talked about this in the upgrade video last week, and this is just this is gonna do so much more work than you're realizing. Like, just people aren't gonna want their creatures to be tapped necessarily, especially if they don't have the blockers coming into play. We know how bad. What is the one with the brain? I need booze. This is
it's hard, isn't it? Are you talking about blind obedience?
Yes, jeez. I'm
Okay.
like, God, I couldn't even think of extort either. Extort couldn't get into my head. I'm like, it has that ability that does something. Thank you, Stump the Smith Savant. You read my brain. But that does so much work. You played it on stream about a month or so ago, and it really just kills. And this includes artifacts. And if people don't want, artifacts especially, you want those coming into play untapped, even more than
somebody
creatures.
plays a dockside extortionist into this. If they're not going to win the game, are they going to just have those treasures ETB tapped?
Yeah,
or are they going to
crazy.
give you 6/1/1s? Or
and that's on the low end.
Version in between.
That's the low end of dockside. Like you see 10, 15, 20. Like, sure, give me all those. Or do
the
you want
clue
to use it?
decks? This is great for that, but I think that's going to be the most consistent thing is when somebody's like, I need a blocker.
Yes.
And then you have to figure out, so if I get a blocker, is it even going to matter with a 1/1? Like, is that creature just going to get around, or does that turn into your blocking? Like, I think it's a really, really interesting, good card, because I think people are going to have to make a lot of decisions.
Well, and you mentioned on the upgrade video, if 2 people have this out,
yeah, that's insane.
You're just going back and forth with it. Just
like a huge army.
And they win the game. One of the people win the game the next turn.
Whoever has impact tremors.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So I think honestly, okay, here's a question for you. Do you think this just starts making it into decks that don't? It's a vampire, but this can go in any white deck that or any type of white in it. Not just solo white.
It's a token
white.
deck.
Yeah.
It's a token creature deck.
But
it's
that's
vampire,
what I'm.
like you're saying. I plan on putting it in my convoke deck, and just because it's going to create me a ton of little tokens that I can just convoke with.
Well, I guess that's what I'm getting at is, does this fit in as a staple-ish, where it's not just going in a theme deck and it's just going in a lot of white decks and just being like, oh, this is going to hinder people.
I think so.
Yeah.
It creates a ton of. It blocks. It'll gain you a little bit of life in that regard. It's going to get you a bunch of tokens, and if it doesn't, people that have their stuff being tapped, it's a win-win right there.
Yeah. Mad Dad says, or just clone it somehow. If you clone your own, it isn't going to work. You need to clone somebody else's if they had it.
They're saying if they're cloned in yours, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, this is, and honestly, you can get this for under $10 at this point. I think when we did the video last week, it was up. Was it?
I almost sat down and bought as many as I could.
It was at $4.
It's up to $7-8 now.
Oh, I thought it was
$3.99.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I was thinking it went the other way with it. So,
no.
But yeah. So, if there was any that was our top 10. If there's any that you think should have made the list, make sure you guys comment below or let us know how terrible we are and we're bad at lists. And no, you don't need to do that. But we'd like to hear what
Mad
other
Dad
ones.
wants that red god on there, and it probably is. Honorable mentions would be the Red God. was it the Indomitable, which is the
the ship.
that
Yep, that
will drive
allows.
car.
And then Renshai says time to riot. So
Go wreck your own stuff.
Hey, we are under an hour, and we're gonna get to Stump the Smith Savant. This is
Look at
crazy.
us.
This is
Look at
what happens when
us.
you're sober. Kind of,
That's-
kind of
Just
ridiculous.
like every other cast, then.
Yeah, it's just. All right, let me get to this. All right, here we go. Here we go. It's time for everyone's favorite game show, Stump the Smith Savant. All right, gang, if you don't know how this game works, I'm going to read the flavor text of a card, and Lowry's going to try to guess the card by asking yes or no questions. Every yes, he'll hear this.
Hello, boobies.
Every no, he'll hear this.
Wrong, 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 wrong.
He'll get up to 5 wrong guesses before he's considered stumped. He gets up to 3 clues. If he can get everything about the card but can't get what the card name is, he will get the initials of the card. If there is a extra clue left over, he will get a bonus clue. The card has to be in at least 10,000 EDH rec decks. This week's stumper is Deadpool Dragon. And like I mentioned before, we have our number 1 off the top 10 is on the ante now, and also the foil Grand Crescendo and the Star Wars art. Lowry is 73 and 25, and like I mentioned, this is week 4. So if Lowry doesn't get stumped for the next 3 weeks, we'll add another card to the ante. So, all right, again, if you guys have any suggestions, or if you want to enter, I should say, make sure you shoot me a message in the Discord or shoot us an email at commandersmiths@gmail.com. I've eliminated the chat. The chat is going to play along to see if they can stump Lowry or get the stump card before Lowry does. And here we go. I have the text right there on the screen. A step in one direction is 2 steps away from another. A step in one direction is 2 steps away from another.
Feel like I've at least read this before. Is this a blue card?
Wrong, 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 wrong.
I thought it was like omniscience or something dealing with Jace. So we know it's not a blue color identity. All right, I'll hear the first clue, please.
The art features something that looks similar to something Saruman uses to communicate with Sauron. The art features something that looks similar to something Saruman uses to communicate with Sauron.
Stupid. So we're talking like some type of orb, potentially an artifact at this point, but it also sounds like it's probably a permanent. So is this a permanent spell?
Hello,
Card?
boobies.
All right. Is it an artifact?
Hello, boobies.
Look at you. Cole, it is not.
It makes me feel like it's that scrying one. God, that's been a while since I've played that card. It could be that, like scrying away one direction, 2 steps away from another. Could be. It's some type of orb. I'll hear a second clue, please.
The text features a mill effect that typically happens at the start of turn.
Okay.
The text features a mill effect that typically happens at the start of turn.
Mesmeric orb.
Oh, he gets
Hello,
it.
boobies.
He gets it. Oh.
There we go.
Oh, look how fast. Dude, this is a fast cast right here. We're under an hour. I don't think we've ever
Should I have
done...
drugged that out for another 45?
No,
I'm
that
sorry.
was going to be a tough... I was trying to make it as... I knew you were going to get this one, especially since
it would have been a
this
bit
last
tougher,
weekend.
but you just played
I played it this weekend.
Yeah. And it helped me so much that I actually went and put it in my pile to put it in the deck that you played it against, because I was like, God, that helps so much. So,
yeah.
bad timing.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Yeah. So, what's funny is, I was trying to just, that was the bonus clue. It was like, you saw this card last weekend.
I think I was originally thinking Crystal Ball, and that's like 3 mana, come down, pay 1, tap it, scry 2.
Scry, yeah.
So that's kind of what I was thinking, but I knew it was some type of ball or orb or something, or that first clue.
How many
Put me
decks do you
there.
think that this is in?
Well, that's a good question. In between 50 and 100,000,
40K.
maybe like 80,
40K.
40.
40K. My next thing is, I'm going to ask you this since we have a little bit of time to kill here. Do you know when it was first printed?
Oh, this was the first one from the metal set. Jesus, Mirrodin. There we
Yep,
go.
there you go. Yep, that is the first set. And then what do you think? Which commander? I'll give you this hint. It is a commander that you have and play. Which commander plays with this card the most? Has the most decks? I would have thought it was Bruvac, but you don't
I
have
would
a
have thought it
Bruvac.
was Bruvac as well.
But you don't have a Bruvac deck, so that doesn't work.
I don't. Are you thinking Muldrotha?
That is correct. It is in. I think it was like 2,500 decks for Muldrotha decks. So
I took that apart.
Yeah, good job. Look at
I
that.
don't have it.
Yeah. Oh, you took that apart. I think you meant you took this card apart. Like you're like, man, I just destroyed this Stump to Smith Savant.
No, but I do plan on putting this in Onyxia, the enchantment one. So
Yeah.
I need to find it, but I definitely put it on my list to do, my to-do list.
Yeah, I was hoping Mad Dad brought up Palantir of Orthanc. I was hoping you just go, well, that's the card you're talking about. Which Palantir is a very good card. I do want to start playing with that card a little bit, but
Yeah, but I don't remember how to say that properly, so I was just hoping it wasn't that.
kind of like Raga.
It's not even Raga Draga. It's Ragaroth of Ragaroth.
All right. That's it, guys. We kind of crushed this episode. Well, this is this is what happens when you don't drink.
Yep.
Then there's
Understand that drinking adds about 60% onto the show now at this point.
And then again, next week we will have the 300th episode. So I believe I'm almost certain we are going to be doing Secret Lair Breakpoint, and of course doing Stump the Smith Savant. Oh, speaking of, I should draw a name.
And we should also say that the Secret Lair, the current one, that's the Halloween version, that ends at the end of this week, very soon.
Yep.
So get on it if you're thinking about it. I am still going back and forth.
Same here. I
I want
haven't
to
bought
get the
mine yet
Emrakul
either.
one. Probably gotta get the Emrakul one, I guess.
Oh, for sure. There's two of them that I was the Emrakul one and the Princess Bride one were one of the better ones with the value. The Princess Bride just had so many cards in it.
Yeah.
So
it just had a ton.
yeah. So
I
but yeah, okay, here we go. This will be next week's
Who's
Stumper.
next week?
I got one. Get it out of there. All right, it is going to be Samwise.
Oh.
Samwise is our Stumper for next week. So
We can talk potatoes if you want.
Gross.
I hope it's a food card.
gross. We'll see.
Potato.
Actually, I do have that. Did I get rid of that one? I might have gotten rid of it. Salty. Nope, I got rid of it when I was doing the last video. All right.
Bitter.
That should do it for this week. We will catch you guys next week.
Thanks for listening.
See ya. I didn't fucking go to I moved my buttons. See ya.
Bye.
I love boobs, I'm talking tatas. I love boobs, I'm bonkers for honkers. I
feel it.
love boobs, thanks for the memories. I love boobs.